The presidential nominee Donald Trump says United States is an occupied country. Trump spreads anti-migrant rhetoric in final arguments. Harris involves to visit all 7 battleground states in the final week, final outreach to key states ahead of November 5th poll. Chinese hackers target Kamala Harris. Trump campaigns China hack targeted senior congressional Democrats as well. Virginia asks United States Supreme Court to allow removal of 1,600 voters. Virginia's voter roll purge aimed at suspected non-citizens. Now, with just 8 days to go until the United States elections, the presidential race remains quite a tight affair. A CBS News and YouGov poll shows Kamala Harris leading Donald Trump by 50% to 49%, just a slender margin of 1% among the likely voters, down slightly from a 51% to 48% advantage in mid-October, but still within the margin of error. An ABC News Ipsos poll confirms Harris is ahead, showing her at 51% compared to Donald Trump's 47%. Trump is in Georgia, where he'll attend the National Faith Summit in Atlanta before rallying at Georgia Tech. Meanwhile, both vice presidential nominees, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Senator J.D. Vance, will be campaigning in critical battleground state of Wisconsin. Meanwhile, with just less than a week to go, former U.S. President and Republican presidential nominee Donald Trump is driving anti-immigration fears in his final arguments in the race to the White House. At a rally at Madison Square Garden, Trump called the United States an occupied state, reaffirming his hardline stance on immigration and promised to deporting millions of undocumented immigrants if he wins the 2024 presidential race. Trump's rally also drew a lot of flack after some of Trump's top supporters flung race-based and vulgar rhetoric. Former congressional candidate David Rem called Harris the Antichrist and the devil, while comedian Tommy Hinchcliffe called Puerto Rico a floating island of garbage. Listen in to what Donald Trump had to say on this.
The United States is now an occupied country, but it will soon be an occupied country no longer. Not going to be happening. Not going to be happening. November 5th, 2024, 9 days from now, will be Liberation Day in America. It's going to be Liberation Day.
Joining me at this moment to shed more light on this and discuss this further, Jonah Blank, former advisor to President Biden, National University of Singapore and Rand Corporation. We also have Matt Klink, Republican strategist, and Ajay Sharma, immigration expert, is also joining us at this moment. Just to understand, Mr. Klink, I want to start with you and try and get this in perspective. The immigration problem is not something which is new to people of United States. This has been spoken about time and again, but to take it to a notch of calling United States an occupied country, is Mr. Trump only playing on fears of the voters?
Oh, sir, with all due respect, the Biden and Harris administration has let 10.4 million illegal people into this country through an open southern border. I would add single-age, military-age fighting males from countries all over the world. It is far and above the most extreme illegal immigration problem that our nation has ever experienced since its foundation. And that's why illegal immigration is either a top 1 or a top 2 issue for the United States voters this election. And Trump overwhelmingly has an advantage by, I think he's like plus 15 or almost plus 20. So it's impacted everyone. There's significant murders conducted by people who are in this country illegally. The fentanyl crisis, the Biden administration and the Harris administration admit they have lost. Think about that. They have lost 380,000 children in this country who came here illegally, they're not inflaming fears. They're acknowledging a problem that is 100% created by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
Okay, but Mr. Blank, Kamala Harris has already said that on immigration, the policies of the current administration or the outgoing administration of Mr. Biden is not going to continue. Shouldn't that be taken as an acceptance that there were problems as far as the immigration policy in the current regime is concerned?
Well, immigration is broken in the U.S. Kamala Harris says so, but it's broken primarily because of Donald Trump. The Democrats and the Republicans hammered out an agreement to solve this problem, and it was taken off the table by Donald Trump purely for political reasons. And let's be clear, this is not really an immigration problem that Trump is talking about. It's a racist attack. Donald Trump's grandparents were immigrants. Kamala Harris's parents were immigrants. What is the difference? Donald Trump's grandparents were white, and the rhetoric coming out of Donald Trump and of his supporters is flat out racist, and it makes me embarrassed as an American.
Mr. Kling, that is something also that has come as a criticism of President Trump, that in garb of the immigration policies or his criticism of the immigration policies, his supporters and he himself is raising a lot of racial comments. There is a fear factor which is being created and which also then plays out on the streets of United States.
Well, first of all, you have to make a clear distinction between legal immigration and illegal immigration. 10.4 million people the size of the state of Michigan, coming to this country over the time that the Biden and Harris administration have been in office. That's not racist. That's just a problem. If your country doesn't have secure borders, you don't have a country, and we do not. This is an issue that's impacting all 50 states, and Jonah can cry racism all he wants. The overwhelming majority of American voters, including many Latino voters, believe that illegal immigration is a problem and that people who are in this country illegally should be deported. Stand in line, follow the law, come into our country legally. Don't try to sneak in.
Let me also ask you then a follow-up question. How feasible is Donald Trump's plan to shut down the borders to illegal immigration within the first hour of the day? I mean, is it even feasible to, in fact, go ahead and just do it right with a stroke of a pen?
Well, look, Joe Biden came into office in his first hour. I think it was, 9 or 10 executive orders that he repealed for Donald Trump. So Donald Trump will go back and reinsert the Remain in Mexico policy. He'll do a lot of things to stem the flow. We're certainly not going to have the massive numbers that we've seen under Kamala Harris and Joe Biden.
Okay.
And ultimately, we'll hopefully get to zero.
Ajay Sharma, I just want to bring you in to try and understand the perspective because there are a lot of Indians, those who are legally living in United States. Is there a fear factor? And, how is it impacting the Indians, those who are living and working in United States?
Well, to be very realistic, I think what Matt said made a lot of sense, that we should distinguish between legal and illegal immigration. I guess what Mr. Trump is talking about primarily is the illegal immigration that's coming in, and that's kind of the key issue. As far as India is concerned, India always gains through legal migration. And if my memory corrects, really serves me right, in the later part of his last tenure of Mr. Trump, he was very clear that USA should also introduce, as part of the legal immigration, a simple, like in Australia and Canada,
Okay.
For professionals, a good program that brings in legal migrants rather than people who primarily do not serve the systemic requirements of American
Okay.
government, really. So,
Okay.
so overall,
Mr. Blank, right.
overall, this serves the interest of India.
Mr. Blank, let me then ask you this. Instead of, calling what Mr. Trump is saying just as a racist attack, is there an alternate vision, a plan that Kamala Harris has that she will put in place if she's elected to power?
Yes, and in fact, Congress was on the verge of passing it. Not just Democrats,
weren't.
but very conservative Republicans led by Senator Langford of Kansas hammered out an agreement to end the problems that we all have been seeing. It was Donald Trump who told Republicans in Congress not to vote for it because he wanted the issue rather than a solution.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us at this moment and putting forward the point of view of your various parties. Thank you so much. This is an important issue as far as the elections in the United States is concerned. Can it be the deciding factor? We'll know on possibly November 6th. Now, in a shock appearance, Melania Trump joined former President Trump's Madison Square Garden rally in New York City. Former First Lady Melania Trump, who has been largely absent from the campaign of President Trump this election cycle, spoke about declining quality of life and economic instability in the United States. Melania has made very few appearances in 2024 U.S. presidential election campaign for her husband. Her speech and appearance in New York, in fact, rally came as a shocker since she was not in the list of pre-release speakers. Her appearance comes weeks after she broke away from Trump, fiercely supporting women's right to abortion. Now, as the United States gears up for the 2024 presidential election, a shadow looms large. Election interference is back on the agenda, and the stakes couldn't be higher. From Russia, China, and Iran to domestic threats and allegations against the United Kingdom's Labour Party, it's all going down. Let's examine the internal, external, and surprise threats facing the American democracy.
Just days after the election cycle began, U.S. intelligence and media reports indicate that Russian operatives are already on the move. Recent investigations uncovered coordinated disinformation campaigns targeting social media platforms, echoing Moscow's 2016 and 2020 tactics. These posts seek to exploit societal divisions, race, politics, and public health, creating a landscape of mistrust. Analysts warn that with every like and share, these false narratives could influence vulnerable voters. The latest example of the same was seen as recent as last Friday. Russia allegedly manufactured and spread a fake video that depicts someone destroying ballots marked to former President Donald Trump in Pennsylvania. Meanwhile, China is adopting a different strategy. It is reverting back to one of the oldest tricks in the books, hacking. FBI and other U.S. agencies are investigating unauthorized access to commercial telecommunications infrastructure by subjects associated with China. Republican presidential candidate Trump and his running mate J.D. Vance are reportedly among a number of people inside and outside of government whose phone numbers were targeted by Chinese hackers. Following this revelation, it was reported that phones used by people affiliated with the Harris campaign were also targeted. You see, attempts to infiltrate political organizations and campaigns are means to seek to sway the voters' opinion and create an unequal playing field. The story is eerily similar when one speaks of Iran. Microsoft has pointed out that Iranian government-linked hackers have researched and probed election-related websites in multiple U.S. swing states. An effort to discover vulnerabilities that could be used to influence the presidential election. But it's not just foreign actors. Domestic extremists are also a significant threat. Law enforcement agencies are on high alert for potential violence at polling places and election-related events. Case in point, the 2021 insurrection. January 6, 2021's heavily armed mob attack was an attack not just on the U.S. Capitol building, but also on democracy and the rule of law. Meanwhile, unsuspecting actors are also facing allegations of election interference. Keir Starmer-led UK tops the chart. The Trump campaign has accused Starmer's Labour Party of blatant foreign interference. This after some volunteers traveled to help campaign for Vice Presidential Harris. The Red campaign has filed a complaint with the Federal Election Commission in Washington. It is demanding an investigation into what it has termed apparently illegal contributions from Labor to the Harris campaign. As the 2024 election approaches, the threat of interference, both foreign and domestic, poses a critical challenge to American democracy. The world watches closely as the battle for truth unfolds. Stay informed and stay vigilant. With Arjun Samar Mahendran, Samya Afsar for NDTV World.
Now, with Republican candidate Donald Trump erasing Harris' leads in the polls and even leading in a few polls, the U.S. elections was part of nearly every conversation among the finance officials, central bankers, and civil society groups attending the meeting in Washington. Fears are running high with concerns over Trump's potential to upend the global finance system with massive tariff increases, trillions of dollars more in debt issuance, and much more. Trump has vowed to impose a 10% tariff on imports from all countries and 60% duties on imports from China. These would hit supply chains throughout the world, likely triggering retaliation and rising the costs. Now, this is after the IMF also warned that trade tariffs favored by Trump could hurt global growth prospects. To discuss whether these fears are indeed justified, we have with us Jayant Krishna, Senior Fellow, Center for Strategic and International Studies, United States. Thank you so much for joining us here, Jayant. I want to start by asking you, the recent polls have revealed that the voters' support to U.S. Vice President's tax and housing policies compared with the Republican nominee. Why is it so, and will it prove to be the deciding factor?
See, Ankit, one doesn't really know which way things happen, but if you look at the business world in the US, there are surely concerns, out of because of many reasons. First is, of course, the political uncertainty, and secondly, some of the big tech companies' earnings are down. If you look at some of the performance, some of the results which have come of Apple or likely to come, McDonald, Boeing, those performances are clearly down. So that's the risk, and also. That's a concern actually, and also the rising treasury yields. The current rate is being talked about at about 4.25%. So I think that's another big risk. Beyond the political uncertainty. As we all know, Trump has taken a slight lead over Kamala Harris. So I think the major concern the U.S. business has is that if Trump comes to power, he has declared that the import tariffs will go up. Primarily to help the domestic manufacturing in the U.S. so that domestic supplies are preferred over imported ones. But if that happens, it's not that simple. While it may help the domestic manufacturing to a limited extent,
right,
but it would also result into higher prices. And higher prices would mean, with great difficulty in last 2 years or so, the inflation which has been contained. We all know the Fed's target of 2%. I think if prices go up, especially for the consumer products, inflation is likely to go up too. So I think these are the primary concerns that the business world in the US seems to be having, Ankit.
You're talking about inflation, and Mr. Trump has blamed his successor, big spending on inflation, and vowed a return to an agenda of lower taxes and less regulations. Is this, somewhere enough to try and answer those doubts that people have on Donald Trump?
See, in politics, in elections, this kind of a blame game is not uncommon. It keeps happening, and almost all over the world, we have seen in our own country and US, everywhere that the government, the earlier government is blamed for lots of things not falling in place. If you look at Joe Biden, a lot of good things have happened, but obviously there are a lot of areas of concern as well. So it's very easy. It's easier said than done. But if you look at the overall Trump proposals, I have a feeling they will lead to eventually greater government borrowings. And if you have a larger chunk of government seeking more borrowings to augment its resources, it becomes riskier to invest in government securities also, and if the risk with government securities goes up. So
Right.
it's always, it has been seen that the interest that the investors seek goes up, which is already the yield, the rising treasury yield is around 4.25%. So it will go up beyond higher interest for most government securities. That's another huge concern that they have right now.
Talk to me about how do you see, if this happens, if Trump administration does come in, the fears that the industries have, how do you see the ripple effect on the global economy of that?
See, if you look at the previous regime of Trump, I think generally he was good for U.S. business. There were other concerns about sustainability issues, about his lack of support to the climate agenda. The Paris Accord. They walked out of it. The U.S. as a country walked out of it. So those are concerns. But by and large, he was reasonably good for business. That's most of his opponents also believe. But today the concern is, in the U.S. business is also about the Federal Reserves. What their next moves are going to be, and there are apprehensions that whether they will maintain the higher rates for a much longer period than what is anticipated as of now. So I think it's not just political uncertainty, but a lot of these factors, pulled in. They have increased the concerns of the U.S. business.
Jayan Krishna, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for speaking to us here on NDTV World. Moving on now, while November 5th is when United States heads to what is expected to be its tightest election in the recent history, the race is far from over. Watch this report to find out what happens in the race to the White House after November 5th.
On November 5th, every election season, the US air crackles with anticipation. The nation holds its breath, caught in the whirlwind of democracy. Here's what unfolds in this dramatic saga. Polls close and the hush of uncertainty blankets the country. Voters anxiously await results, their fates hanging in a balance. Election workers, fueled by coffee and adrenaline, dive into the monumental task of counting ballots. A process fraught with tension and suspense. As the night deepens, the first waves of results trickle in. States light up on the map, red and blue battles playing out in real time. Twitter explodes, pundits speculate, and hope flickers like a candle in the storm. In battleground states, margins are razor thin, and every vote feels like a heartbeat. Days turn into weeks as the results are certified. Behind the scenes, election officials work tirelessly, verifying votes and ensuring integrity. In contested states, lawyers gear up for potential challenges, ready to navigate the labyrinth of legal disputes. Tension mounts as the clock ticks. Every hour, every minute feels like eternity. Fast forward to December, the appointed electors gather, each one a pivotal piece in the electoral puzzle. With the nation watching, they cast their votes, their decisions shrouded in intrigue. Will they stick to the will of the voters, or will surprises emerge? January 6, 2025 dawns, the day Congress meets to count the electoral votes. The atmosphere is electric, a theatre of democracy in action. Politicians clash, tensions rise, and the stakes are sky high. Will the outcome be a smooth transition of power, or will the ghosts of division haunt the Capitol? Finally, the moment arrives. January 20th, 2025 is more than a date, it's a spectacle. The air is thick with emotion as the President-elect and Vice President-elect take their oaths, their voices echoing against the backdrop of history. Cheers and jeers blend into a cacophony of hope, fear, and promise as a new chapter in the American story begins. In this dramatic aftermath, the nation grapples with the implications of the election. It is a reminder that democracy is not just a process, but a vibrant, tumultuous journey filled with possibility. The stage is set, and the world watches, captivated by the unfolding drama of the American spirit. An NDTV Bureau Report.
I'll see you later.
And trust NDTV World to get you minute-by-minute 360-degree view of the American election. That's all the time that we have in US Election Watch. Thank you so much for tuning in.
It's been a difficult year for our family. We're finally going through my Tom's things. I want to make him proud, and that starts by making sure our son is protected.
Welcome to British Seniors, the UK's #1 rated provider of over 50s life insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote.
No problem. We're proud to offer our seniors lifetime guarantee. With 100% of claims having been paid, we guarantee your premiums will never go up and that you'll speak to one of our specialists in the UK.
That's great.
UK residents aged 50 to 80 are guaranteed to be accepted. Depending on your age, your loved ones can get a cash payout up to £10,000. Plus, when you sign up, you'll receive a £135 gift card and free 24/7 GP advice and health services.
That money could help with debts or my funeral costs. I'll do it.
Be proud to protect your loved ones with British Seniors. To get a free quote today, call our UK team on 0800 158 5552 or visit britishseniors.co.uk.
This is an important message for people living with diabetes, from people living with diabetes.
When I was experiencing the symptoms of diabetes, I didn't know what was going on.
You go on the internet and it's full of horror stories. You don't know where to begin and you don't know what to believe.
I didn't understand about carbs, I didn't understand about blood glucose levels.
I was scared and I was worried.
I didn't understand diabetes full stop.
That's why the support I get as a Diabetes UK member is so important.
You can become a Diabetes UK member too. To join us now, just call 0800 144 5406 and become a member today for just £3 a month. When you do, you'll receive a practical guide specific to your type of diabetes and a copy of Balance magazine 4 times a year. Balance is filled with news and inspiring real-life stories from members just like you. And you'll receive regular emails and vital updates that will help you feel informed and supported. Plus, you'll help support research that could lead to better treatments for all types of diabetes.
Membership makes life better because you're not alone anymore.
Call 0800 144 5406 or go online to become a Diabetes UK member for just £3 a month, because membership can help you learn to live better with diabetes.
Hello. How was Iceland?
It was good, I guess. Had a few issues here and there.
Didn't you check Brighton?
No, the sun wasn't bright at all. Iceland, you know.
Wait, you don't know Brighton?
They must have missed out on some seamless visa assistance.
Plus extra baggage allowance and 24/7 customer support.
I mean, there's a reason they're rated excellent on Trustpilot.
Brighton Travel, making travel brighter.
As a dad, I know life's unpredictable. It's all fun and games until it's not.
You okay?
I want my kids to always be looked after. That's why I'm not putting things off anymore and protecting the life we've built by calling Smart Insurance.
Hi, how can I help?
Hi, like a quick quote, please.
Okay. You can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000 depending on your age.
Brilliant.
If you're a UK resident aged 18 to 64, you can apply with just a few health and lifestyle questions. For £250,000 of cover, the price starts at just £14.77 a month.
That's less than I thought. And could help my wife pay off the mortgage.
With our Smart Family Guarantee and 99% of claims having been paid, you'll have peace of mind.
That's good to know.
You'll also receive a 100% advance in the event of terminal illness and 10% cashback on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback. Plus, you get your choice of a free £125 gift card.
Protect the life you've built the smart way. To get a free quote today, call our specialist UK team on 0800 977 6797 or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
With Post Office Over 50s life cover, enjoy peace of mind knowing your family will receive a guaranteed payout when you're gone. UK resident 50 to 80, you're guaranteed acceptance. No health checks and from just £1.15 a week. Plus free 24/7 GP access with the health and wellbeing benefit. Purchase and receive a £125 gift card for amazon.co.uk, Tesco or M&S. Call Post Office on 0800 171 2211.
Decided.
Chief Minister Eknath Shinde undertakes a mega roadshow before filing his nomination, tells NDTV the Mahayuti will register a record win as their work speaks for itself, while in the Agadi there is just a race for the Chief Minister's face. DMK mock actor politician Vijay's party after his first political rally, while the DMK hits out declaring him a C team of the BJP. AIADMK said it's old wine in new bottles and a cocktail ideology. A political slugfest in Telangana over a police raid at a farmhouse. Party KTR hits out, says a family gathering was labeled a rape party, accuses Chief Minister Revanth Reddy of targeting him for exposing corruption. The Congress asks why BRS is in panic. Hello everyone, you're watching Left, Right and Centre. I'm Maria Shakil. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in his monthly radio address, Mann Ki Baat, flagged digital arrest. While labeling it as a fraudulent activity, he urged people to remain vigilant and safe. The Prime Minister emphasized that those involved in the crime are enemies of society, and he said, and I'm quoting him, "There is no system like digital arrest in the law. This is just fraud, deceit, lie. A gang of criminals, and those who are doing this are enemies of the society." This is what the Prime Minister said. He cautioned the people in general. Let's listen in to what the Prime Minister said.
रुको, बाद में सोचो और फिर एक्शन लो। ये 3 चरण आपकी डिजिटल सुरक्षा का रक्षक बनेंगे। साथियों, मैं फिर कहूंगा, डिजिटल अरेस्ट जैसी कोई व्यवस्था कानून में नहीं है। ये सिर्फ फ्रॉड है, फरेब है, झूठ है, बदमाशों का गिरोह है। और जो लोग ऐसा कर रहे हैं, वो समाज के दुश्मन है। डिजिटल अरेस्ट के नाम पर जो फरेब चल रहा है, उससे निपटने के लिए तमाम जांच एजेंसियां राज्य सरकारों के साथ मिलकर काम कर रही है। इन एजेंसियों में तालमेल बनाने के लिए नेशनल साइबर कोऑर्डिनेशन सेंटर की स्थापना की गई है। एजेंसियों की तरफ से ऐसे फ्रॉड करने वाली हजारों वीडियो कॉलिंग आईडी को ब्लॉक किया गया है। लाखों सिम कार्ड, मोबाइल फोन और बैंक अकाउंट्स को भी ब्लॉक किया गया है। एजेंसियां अपना काम कर रही है, लेकिन डिजिटल अरेस्ट के नाम पर हो रहे स्कैम से बचने के लिए बहुत जरूरी है हर किसी की जागरूकता, हर नागरिक की जागरूकता। जो लोग भी इस तरह के साइबर फ्रॉड का शिकार होते हैं, उन्हें ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों को इसके बारे में बताना चाहिए।
So what is digital arrest? Fraudsters, in fact, pose as cops on video calls. They then intimidate and threaten victims with arrest. These victims are tricked into constant surveillance via Skype. These perpetrators, in fact, pose as cops, police officers, sometimes bureaucrats and other law enforcement agencies. In fact, once they use the name of the Chief Justice of India as well. In order to make the arrest appear real, they use fake IDs and stop victims from speaking to anyone. In the state of panic, the victims often share their passwords to their accounts and end up paying the extortion money they are asking for. So what should you do if you're trapped in this kind of digital arrest scam? First, never trust unknown callers and do not engage with them. First, do not panic. And if you get such a call, stop all communication and disconnect the internet to begin with. Immediately call 1930 and report the crime to police. Next, contact your bank, freeze account, change password soon, ASAP, as soon as you can. And in this state, maintain your calm and ensure that you have all the relevant evidence like call recording, messages, screenshots. Next question that you may have on your mind is, can this be avoided? Yes, it can be. Never trust unsolicited calls. Agencies, remember, do not conduct questioning online. There's no method of probe online. Verify callers by contacting agency directly. Do not share personal details on video calls and install cyber security app to alert on scam calls. Remember, in the last few months, thousands of such fraudulent video calling IDs have been blocked by the agencies. Lakhs of SIM cards, mobile phones and bank accounts have also been blocked. This is a new cyber menace, and let me share some shocking statistics which will show the sheer scale of what is happening here. In the first 3 months of 2024, Indians lost approximately 120 crores to digital arrests. A whopping 74 lakh complaints have been recorded from January 1st till April 30th. And in the same period last year, 15.56 lakh calls were registered, which essentially means that this year there has been a substantive increase, almost few 100% from 2023 to 2024. And just as you will see this constantly rising, it's an indicator of this menace. Let me give you one example. Vardhaman Group Chairman SP Oswal was duped of 7 crore last month in Ludhiana. Mr. Oswal was kept under digital surveillance for 2 days after the fraudsters duped in the name of a money laundering probe. Remember, this is a menace and we can fight this challenge only with a collective effort. So let's try and decode little more about it with those who are in the know of it. Brijesh Singh is the Principal Secretary to the Chief Minister of Maharashtra, someone who has been handling such crimes. Amin Mudassir is a digital arrest victim. Sanjay Sahai is a former ADGP of cyber crimes in Karnataka Police. We have also Napinai, cyber laws expert. I'm going to begin with you, Brijesh Singh. The fact that the cases are increasing exponentially, it only means that all the efforts at trying to, cut those calls or block those numbers aren't really helping.
So it seems that there is a large cybercrime syndicate which has followed this particular modus. And you see that this uptick in call is very recent. So there are different modi operandi wherein cyber fraudsters, cyber criminals do this thing called social engineering. So, cyber frauds and cybercrime can be done with technical means by hacking, with malware, with mobile apps, with remote access. But I think 3/4 of cybercrime, more than 75% of cybercrime happens with compromising the victim through social engineering, wherein the victim is compelled to share personal details, which leads to an account takeover, and hence, money is lost. So I believe that while efforts are being taken, the nature of digital platforms is such that it gives free access to everybody to reach any individual and perpetrate such crimes. Maria?
Okay, so let me try and get details of from Amin, who has been a victim of this crime or supposed cyber arrest. What really happened, Amin, and when was this?
Yeah, this happened in December last year. I was just preparing for my flight next day, and 12:30 I get a call, which had an automatic message, press 1 for knowing more details about your parcel. A person spoke to me and mentioned that so-and-so parcel has returned back and it had so many things, and one such thing was the MDMA. I mean, I never knew what was MDMA, but that person explained to me. And then he said, see, look, you are in Bangalore, and if you do not now immediately get in touch with the Mumbai Cybercrime Police, you will have to face consequences. What happened was he asked me two questions, which made the entire thing look real for me. One is he asked me, "Did you travel to Mumbai recently?" I was just 1 week. It was 1 week after Mumbai travel, so I was in Mumbai a week ago before. And then the second thing he asked me, "Did you give your Aadhaar to any of your friend?" Incidentally, I had given a copy of my Aadhaar to my friend, and both these things made me believe that this person is very, very much aware of what has happened with me. The call goes to the Mumbai Cyber Police, so-called Mumbai Cyber Police, and then the person there takes a big name of himself. He's an ACP, and he then tells me to come on Skype. I go to Skype, and there are many IDs which he tells me, and I click on one ID. Till that time, I thought this is a genuine police interrogation, and I was like, okay, let me face it, or whatever is happening. Till then, I followed him. So he made me sit like this on the camera, and I couldn't see the person on the other side. And he made me tell the complaint, so-called complaint, online complaint, and he says it's now recorded. And then he somehow manages to elicit my Aadhaar number, because until now he had taken over my mind, and I told him the Aadhaar number. He knew my name, he got the Aadhaar, and then he sends a PDF with the CBI notice to me saying that now you are under national security. You can't leave the country. You are supposed to now lock yourself in the room, not talk to anybody. And this was very, very difficult for me to handle. But then I still said, okay, let me calm down. Let me see what happens. And then what happens is they do some kind of a talking between people, and they say, your Aadhaar has been registered in multiple states. And then they show me a famous Maharashtra politician. I can't take his name. And they say, this person has been arrested by ED, and he has 200 fake bank accounts. And we want to now establish a proof that no money from these 200 accounts has come to your personal account. In the meanwhile, he gathers all my bank details, like how much money I have. He didn't actually ask for passwords. So I told him how much money I have. And then a PDF comes, again, a PDF saying that now the finance department of CBI is going to send a software to you, and you have to transfer 88% of all the money you have. So that time, that amount came to 8 lakh rupees. So I kind of brought all that money into my personal account, which was with a private bank. And when he eventually, two people, I mean, their Hindi, their English was sounding as if, they are truly some sort of bureaucrats. What happened was this guy at the end of this was total 4.5 hours of trauma. So at the last moment, he told me, please open your iMobile app and add a pay. The moment he told add a pay, I was like, no, this is something wrong. How will I pay some government agency via my mobile? Because I pay my GST, my income tax online. So that was the red alert immediately. The second thing was, I told, please on your video, I want to know who you are. I will pay you 8 lakhs, whatever is the amount, but I want to see who you are. The third thing is, suddenly it flashed my mind, this could be some scam. I Googled, because it was a FedEx call, I typed FedEx and scam. And I was so lucky that there was an article by the then DCP of Bangalore South, DCP, I'm forgetting his name. He had mentioned the entire scam. So I was so thankful to him. And the moment I stood firm, they started using a very strong language. Inspectors send the cops now to his house. This man is not cooperating. I just stood silent, stunned, and I said, nothing doing. I cut the call, and I just thanked God that day that I was saved. But it was 4.5 hours, and then I discovered that, like me, there are
pure trauma.
Pure trauma.
Absolutely. I think, but Sanjay Sai, the point that has been made here by Mudassir, two things. They know, they know that psychology, that if they share some details of recent activities, then you will start trusting them. Because, if you look at it, Mudassir's, the fact that he had shared his Aadhaar with a friend of his, they knew about it. Or was it just some guess questions that you asked?
It is a mixture of both. So we are basically dealing with a multi-headed hydra, and we want to control it from one end, which is not going to happen. So as Brajesh said, it starts with social engineering, and all the phishing expeditions which happen, whether it's phishing, whaling, and variety of other things in that phishing umbrella, starts with social engineering. Here, what happens, which is most fascinating, and which has been quite a time talked about by Yuval Noah Harari, the biggest digital thinker of our times, is that they want to hack your mind. So they hack your mind, gain control over your mind. There has been a very recent incident wherein an Aaj Tak correspondent, she herself told that she literally felt hypnotized. So as you enter into this whole exercise, what is really critical for you is once you have started believing that you are talking to the right person, I think you have lost the game. So that is where the whole thing starts. It emanates for other two things which are unconnected to digital technology, so to say, is the fear of law enforcement agencies and the fear of the government and how the government functions. A CEO, a top IT person getting hacked or getting duped in this manner is something which is unimaginable. There's a friend of mine who lost 1.21 crores. I think he was supposedly under digital arrest for a couple of days. Now, this being the situation as it is, do we have any mechanism wherein I can call that number and which is a trusted number by which I can cross-check whether the person who is talking to me comes from the right source or not? I don't think there's any number in the country where you can tell FedEx, Customs, Police, CBI and all these agencies what their correct number is or what their only number is, and it can be cross-verified.
So what is this
so
number?
That becomes very, very important.
Sir,
At the time of crisis,
one moment, sir. Then what is this number that we are talking about, that if you are trapped, then dial 1930?
Yeah, so we are talking of this number is 1930, which primarily means that once the thing is over and you have been duped, you communicate to them, you inform them.
Okay.
A real-time support of a nature which a victim requires.
That's not there.
I don't think that is forthcoming, number one. Number two, there is no trusted number by which you can cross-check. These are the FedEx numbers. These are the customs numbers. These are the CBI numbers. These are these numbers. It is known as whitelisting of numbers. So let the government announce this is the whitelisted number by which government corresponds. But for that, any number we don't recognize. So we will also not recognize. Number two, now every day we are getting numbers. Do we have any place where there is a crowdsourcing of numbers by which we create a database? And that database is the real, active, dynamic, updated database of all fraudulent numbers or Skype IDs or WhatsApp IDs or whatever the case may be. Number two. Number three, what we have been talking about of thousands and lakhs of SIMs and variety of other things. Where is that? Where is that database? We need to have that database only to realize that this is what action has been taken upon.
You make an important point, sir.
Other part I'll tell you. Give me half a minute. So the other part is the telcos. Telcos in your language might be different. In our language is the telecommunication companies. So these telecommunication companies, the collaboration between them, Airtel boasts of suspect calls of spams and variety of things. Now all these things through Airtel, BSNL and whatever telcos we have, why they don't come together and block all these on a dynamic basis? And same thing goes, which we have left completely uncovered, are the banks. All these mule accounts are in the bank, and the way it is siphoned off and the pace at which it is siphoned off, it is very difficult to say that if not the connivance, it is outright ignorance, it is callousness, it is irregularity of the bank and nothing else. And it operates in a multi-layer system.
Yes, yes.
Then what trauma support do you provide to the victim? That fellow loses everything. What is the trauma support? Nothing.
So basically, if there is no real time support, then actually it is not of much help, is the point that is being made here. N.S. Napinai, given the sheer scale at which this menace is unfolding here in India, from 3 lakh calls, it went up to 7 and then 15, and last year 15.56 lakh complaints, and now 74 lakh complaints. It certainly appears that there is no solution in sight.
It does seem rather bleak, but Maria, the first thing I would say is prevention and protection is what we are talking about. And I'm really glad that the Prime Minister has addressed this issue in Mann Ki Baat, because that is how you get wider reach of the message. Because repeatedly, law enforcement agencies have been sharing this message cautioning the public about these kind of scams, and yet they continue. And whatever numbers you're quoting may just be the tip of the iceberg. There may be many instances which are not even being reported. So if you look at it from a law perspective, there are many important points that have been raised by the other panelists. To address the first thing that Brajesh mentioned about these being syndicates. Now, you have remedies in law. Often I have noted that victims believe that they do not have remedies in law. You do have it. The Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita now captures a new provision for organized crime, and such frauds are part of this organized crime process. Now, Sanjay mentioned about the various processes in terms of preventive and protective measures. I would like to start off from where he left off about the bank's liability. Now, when you look at a UK perspective, for instance, the United Kingdom took a conscious effort in terms of providing remedies for recovery of money for financial fraud victims. One of the concerns, of course, that they mentioned is that if a consortium of banks come together to provide succor to the victims, chances are that cyber criminals will be more emboldened, because for them it would seem like the system is paying for the crime. So that was one concern that was raised. But the fact remains that remedies, and here the remedy for a victim literally is recovery of money. So remedies are provided for in real time and in a practical manner. So when we look at it from an India perspective, we are dealing with different kinds of people here, and predominantly a lot of very highly educated, well-positioned people are falling victim. If you look at the old kinds of frauds, they relied on greed. Now, frauds rely on fear. Look at the kind of fear psychosis that they create. You talked about social engineering. How is it being done? First, the victim is isolated. That's why they are being locked into. I had this case where a very elderly couple faced this a similar situation as what the victim just narrated. But in that case, initially the wife came into the room to try and caution the husband, and then the person on the screen yelled at the victim and said, "Ask her to leave, otherwise we are coming immediately to arrest you," kind of threats. Then he locked himself in alone, and luckily, the wife was a very smart one. Kudos for women, if I may pause to say that. But she then verified online and then managed to get a message through to the husband. And then they kind of like saved themselves from a larger issue. They did lose some money. So when you look at the modus and the way it's being done, it's critical for people to put in preventive and protective measures themselves. One, with a good antivirus software, which would probably root out many of the mails-based frauds. Two, not continuously build into themselves that they should not click on unknown links. If a parcel is going to be returned, so be it. But when you're not expecting a parcel, you have, and if you look at those messages, it does not carry any information. It just gives you the link. So don't click on links. Don't take it to the next level. Be cautious and keep reporting these crimes, because if there is better enforcement, and we should have better enforcement, if we can show by example that these criminals can be traced and punished, then there may be a better remedy.
Amin, you wanted to make a point, then I'll go to Brajesh Singh.
Yeah, I still get those calls. I still get the calls automated. I have received 20 calls from that day till today. So one or two times I did hang, despite 1930 complaint. So I think there is no control over these calls. The latest call was yesterday morning. I still got a call. I don't know how our numbers are going so easily out. And one or two times I did try to engage them, only to give them a proper thrashing after taking them till the point they try to push me to the Skype thing. But the thing is, it's now DHL, FedEx, SBI, and I don't know how many more company names they will take.
Okay, so Brajesh Singh, here is Mudassir, who perhaps escaped one arrest, supposed arrest, and then he's continuing to get those calls. You had used a phrase, social engineering. Could you explain that? And then for those who are continuing to get those calls, what is their solution? 1930 doesn't seem to be of much help.
See, social engineering is basically, as Sanjay sir said, hacking of the mind. It's almost like a dark psychology thing. So, authority, emergency, threat, and demand. They create an authority figure, which creates something called an halo effect, where you are, once somebody in an authority figure or purported authority figure says something, there is more compliance. You want to listen to. Then they create emergency that your numbers would be blocked, your account would be blocked, or we are coming to your place, we are raiding you, we are arresting you. Then they threat, and then they demand. So this is a cycle of digital arrest. However, I'd like to make one or two important points. See, the thing with 1930 is that it stops the flight of money. So with 1930, what you can do is that once you call that number, they would stop the money from being transferred to different accounts. Generally, the way cybercriminals operate is that once the money is taken, it's divided into small parts, it's spread all over, and then it is withdrawn from mule accounts. You also have to remember that the RBI circular on victim liability talks about limitation of victim liability to only 25,000 rupees. You also have to remember that there is something called ombudsman that you also have to immediately make, apart from registering, calling 1930, registering on cybercrime.gov.in, you also have to approach banking ombudsman. And after having said this, I want to say two more things, that this all is happening because of broken KYC, know your customer. If KYC was proper, then you would have had phone numbers, accounts, and addresses, everything, and identities linked, so that nobody would be able to purport to be somebody else to defraud others. And I believe that once this is happening on social media platforms, they have a duty to care. They are profiting, if not profiteering, of all Indian people, but they are having no modicum of responsibility. If you are allowing your platforms to be used for this, then it is your duty to care, your duty to stop, and your duty to stop any misuse of your platform. So I believe that 1930, ombudsman, and limitation of your liability to 25,000 rupees if you report it in time and there's no contributory negligence. And apart from that, the responsibility of platforms plus solving the broken KYC issue. Maria?
So if it's so, there are so many wheels within wheels here, and it sounded a very complex and complicated procedure here, Brijesh Singh. So I'll give the last word to Sanjay Sahai. You have to be alert. Are we supposed to believe that the only way to get out of this entire, complicated process, if you are cheated or under supposed cyber arrest, then the prevention is the only way out? Otherwise, you won't get your money back. It's a long process.
No. Prevention can be only one part of the whole story, and you can't say that if it cannot be prevented, nothing else can be done, and the state will sit with his arms on the forehead and keep breaking it. I don't believe that. I'll give you one very simple thing.
No, but Sanjay, here is
business logic. I'll just
one moment. Amin Mudassir is saying that he is continuing to get calls.
No, he will keep continue. No, I'm coming in between that. Give me the middleware, as we call it, the software industry.
Okay.
Correct. So first is business logic. Your core banking works on varieties of business logic. Any transfer of, say, 1 lakh rupee or more, or 50,000 or more, cannot be retransferred or broken down into smaller amount in next 6 hours or next 12 hours. Make it as a part of the core banking software. Point number one. Point number two, all KYC needs to be audited as it stands today. Otherwise, you will not be allowed to pursue with your bank accounts. Point number three, another business logic, which all our IT companies are very familiar with. And that is, if any video call continues for more than 2 hours, 1 hour, half an hour, whatever, that will be stopped, and for next 72 hours, that call shall not materialize. It is not coming in way of encryption. It is not coming in way of privacy. It is only for the purposes of crime prevention and security. So there are a variety of ways by which things can be done. Whether we are ready to do that or not is the biggest problem. Now we want to put everything on the awareness part, on the prevention part, on the customer part, on the citizen part. And that is the only story we know. We don't know any other story of governance. So this is where we are stuck up. Why should we take a 360 degrees responsibility and move ahead and try to create a business model which actually delivers? And if in the technology age, if the hackers or these cyber criminals can come to this level, I think we can go to a much greater level in no time. We have all the wherewithal. Are the agencies really coordinating among themselves?
Yes.
Is there a single database which is there at the back end? National Cybercrime Coordination Center supposedly has just started. Correct. So where is the commonality? And as I see in Bangalore and other places, I think the police stations are literally on their own. And the friend I'm talking about who was duped of 1.21 crore, this evening I get a message from him that I had gone to the police computer wing, and out of disgust he wants to help the police, and he's writing a software by which these new transfers can be stopped. Now banks are taking days together to reply back.
That's right.
Where the whole movement is instantaneous. It can, see, I think the lead part we should give to telcos and the banks, and the back end is the collaboration of data exchange at the real-time level on a collaborative basis. With actionable intelligence and action is the way.
Okay, that's very well put actually. Thank you so much, Brijesh Singh, Sanjay Sahai, N.S. Napinai and Amir Mudassir. On that note, we are slipping into a short break. Coming up would be details of another star which is now being seen on the horizon of politics of Tamil Nadu. Can actor Vijay really have an impact in Tamil Nadu politics? That and much more. We'll debate after a short break.
NDTV proudly presents NDTV World Summit 2024, the India Century. I now request the Honorable Prime Minister to launch NDTV World.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's inaugural session at the NDTV Summit outlined his vision for the India Century, driven by aspirational India.
हमारा प्रयास होगा भारत की सेंचुरी सिर्फ भारत की नहीं बल्कि पूरी मानवता की जीत की सेंचुरी बने.
The summit brought together prominent global leaders, highlighting India's pivotal role on the world stage.
Not just Indians trusting India's leadership, but the global South especially trusting India's leadership.
Canada is concerned, I think there are some very specific issues. I think a lot of people know that.
Permanent seat on the UN Security Council is something that should be India's right.
AI is going to be one of the most important drivers.
It's a very exciting time for India, Indian cinema as well at a global level.
NDTV World Summit was more than just a conversation. It was a confluence of ideas poised to shape our global future.
From interesting tech startups to industry-leading companies, politics, sports, culture, curry, cricket. Oh, there's so much to talk about. Like me, if you too thrive on interesting conversations, this is a show you cannot miss. Watch this space to know more about all matters and all people that make Britain what it is today. Out of Britain, with me, Radhika Iyer.
अपने टैलेंट के दम पे तमाम दरवाजे खोले. किसी बड़े बाप की औलाद नहीं था वो आदमी. उसकी सक्सेस से तो तमाम लोगों को जो इंस्पिरेशन मिलती है वो नेक्स्ट लेवल है.
सर वो तो है, लेकिन उसके साथ साथ रुकावट तो बहुत थी, क्योंकि ये लड़का जिस रफ्तार से आगे जा रहा था बहुत तो रुकावट तो आएगी. तो रुकावट ऐसे आई कि हीरोइन को बोल दिया जाता था कि इसके साथ काम मत करो, तो करते भी नहीं थे. फिर किसी भी तरह कैसे भी कोई भी फिल्म मिल जाए, मैं बोला नहीं करना कि मेरे दिल में को ऐसे हारूंगा तो लड़ के हारूंगा, ऐसे नहीं हारूंगा मैं. तो वो एक बात तो थी. तो दोपहर वही जो काले रंग वाली बात है ना, वही बात मुझे बहुत दिमाग बहुत रोता था, बहुत ये सचमुच के बहुत रोता था कि भगवान ये कैसे तोड़ूँ मैं, कैसे हो सकता है. फिर एक दिन दिमाग में आया मैं तो डांस कर सकता हूँ, है ना. मैं डिस्को डांसर के पहले की बात कर रहा हूँ, ये जो, तो मैंने कहा कि ऐसा मैं डांस करूँगा, पैरों से डांस करूँगा, हाथ से नहीं, पैरों से डांस करूँगा, लोग मेरी कलर को ना देखें, मेरे पैरों को देखें। और इसीलिए मेरे सारे डांस देखे कि मेरे पैरों के ऊपर ज़्यादा जोर दिया है, और वही हुआ, लोग मेरे पैर को देखने लगे, मेरे रंग को भूल गया, और मैं हो गया सेक्सी डस्की बंगाली बाबू।
तो वो आपने जो है ये डिसाइड कर लिया कि डांस देखेगी दुनिया, रंग नहीं देखेगी।
यस।
ये बताइए मुझे कि जो हीरोइनों की बात आपने अभी अभी करी कि कोई काम करने के लिए उनको मना कर देते थे, किस हीरोइन ने तोड़ा ये?
नहीं, ये एक्चुअली जिना तमान जी ने मेरे को सबसे ज़्यादा मदद की, क्योंकि 20 साहब एक पिक्चर बना रहे थे, उन्होंने तय कर लिया भाई मैं मिठू नहीं मेरा हीरो है। तो वो गए जिना जी के पास, जिना जी को बोला जिना देखो एक लड़का है।
Tamil Nadu politics is seeing yet another superstar entry. In his debut public appearance yesterday, actor Vijay had targeted the DMK's first family and even slammed the party's politics, saying they were cheating people in the name of Dravidian model. Today was the day when DMK and AIADMK, the two dominant regional forces in the state, slammed the actor and his political outfit. DMK said he had copied them. AIADMK called it a cocktail of current political standpoints of various parties. Here's the story.
TVK chief and popular star Vijay's maiden political show of strength. At a venue packed with lakhs of fans and followers, Vijay made his first political speech laced with punchlines. Very tacitly, Vijay kept silent on AIADMK and targeted DMK. He alleged that DMK was following a corrupt model of Dravidian politics and misleading people.
Anyway, no looking back. நம்மளுடைய ஒரு எதிரி பிளவுவாத சக்திகள், நம்மளுடைய இன்னொரு எதிரி இந்த கரப்ஷன் கபடதாரிகள். அதுக்கு முகமே இருக்காது, முகமூடி தான் இருக்கும், முகமூடி தான் முகமே.
Vijay's core commitment, secularism, social justice, equality, proportional reservation, women empowerment, and social harmony. Rejecting his allegations, the ruling DMK called him a copycat and C-team of the BJP.
திராவிட மாடல் ஆட்சியினுடைய கொள்கைகள் அதை தமிழக மக்களிடத்திலிருந்து அகற்ற முடியாது என்பதை நேற்றைய தினம் அவர்கள் வெளியிட்டிருக்கிற ஜெராக்ஸ் காப்பியிலிருந்து நாம் தெரிந்து கொள்ள முடியும். எனவே அது ஜெராக்ஸ் காப்பி தான். எங்களுடைய கொள்கைகள் அதில் சிலருக்கு விளக்கங்கள் கொடுத்து தந்திருக்கிறார்களே தவிர திராவிட மாடல் ஆட்சி, அதுவும் தலைவர் தளபதி முன்னெடுத்து செல்லுகிற அந்த கொள்கைகளை தமிழக மக்களிடமிருந்து யாரும் எடுத்து விட முடியாது, பிரித்து விட முடியாது. அதாவது இதுவரைக்கும் பல அரசியல் கட்சிகளுடைய ஏ டீம் பி டீம் பார்த்துருக்கிறோம். இது பாரதிய ஜனதாவினுடைய சி டீம்.
The BJP that's struggling to expand its footprint in the Dravidian heartland says it's unperturbed.
If he says it is BJP, then we will answer him. With the Prime Minister and our President, young President Mr. Annamalai, we have stars in our party, so I don't think it is going to affect us.
After MGR and Jayalalitha, popular stars in Tamil Nadu have not been able to become chief ministers, including Shivaji Ganesan, Vijaykanth and Kamal Hassan. Even superstar Rajinikanth had to opt out of politics. Vijay, who has a cult following, makes his political plunge at the peak of his career. He hopes he'll be able to script a new history. In Chennai with Suresh, Sam Daniel, for NDTV.
So can actor politician Vijay script history is the question that we ask on the show tonight. Kasturi Shankar is actor and a political analyst. Kalyan Raman is senior leader of the BJP Tamil Nadu. Pula Rao is political analyst. We also have R. Rangaraj, senior journalist of Chennai. I'm going to begin with you, Kasturi Shankar. What impact will actor Vijay have on Tamil Nadu politics? Why are the two political parties so perturbed?
I think he's going to be a major disruptor. He's definitely a game changer in Tamil Nadu 2026. Nobody saw this coming because everybody underestimated him. A majority of party leaders and analysts and observers, everybody thought, because Vijay has not been this vitriolic avatar ever before. What he showed the world yesterday, what he showed Tamil Nadu yesterday, took everybody by surprise. And in my case, I'm pleasantly shocked at the kind of force that he exhibited. You asked me who has to take a look at themselves, a good long look at themselves after what Vijay went on stage and spoke. Number one, Vijay's speech endeared him to the masses because unlike Mr. Kamal Hassan, he didn't come across as an intellectual or as an elitist. His speech it came from the heart. He came across as somebody that could be very easily approachable. Now, is that reality? Not yet. But his speech really thwarted the glass castle image that he previously had. So I think the people, everybody took up a notice yesterday. Massive crowds, 5 lakh people, 2 lakh people standing outside the venue. No unfortunate, unpleasant incidents reported from inside the venue. A lot of positive vibes. So the people that are completely flustered, going by the social media and public responses, Maria, DMK is not taking it lightly. They are extremely hostile. The reactions coming from them show that they have taken a back foot and they are flustered. They are
so DMK is flustered. Okay, Kalyan Raman, it is being said that actor Vijay is your C team. That's what your political opponents are saying. Because you're not able to put up a serious fight there in Tamil Nadu and open your account, and that is the reason why you have a C team.
I think you have to, first of all, see the 2014 and 2024 elections. The results were quite visible that what the BJP can do and dent into the electoral process. So that question does not arise to begin with. Number two, Vijay said that the secularism, and then he went on to attack DMK by saying family politics and corruption. So if you look at it, he is perceiving both BJP and DMK as his enemies. So it has got a direct, you can say, he may not be attacking ADMK. If at all one can call him as A or B or C, it can be ADMK's B team or C team.
So that's
but we are not here to jump to we are not here to jump to that conclusion. That's my point. Okay.
So
there are people who can keep on muttering some such thing, but we are not interested in saying whose team he belongs to.
Okay. So now the BJP says that actor Vijay is C team of perhaps AIA DMK. He has nothing to do with the DMK or...
I am not saying it. I am simply saying that one can always make such allegation which may not be able to substantiate. Some may not be able to substantiate. That's the point. As simple as that.
Okay,
I'm not saying he's B or C or D.
Pullarao, you know, the point being made by Kasturi Shankar is actually very, very fascinating. She says here that actor Vijay is not like Kamal Hassan. Kamal Hassan's entry was, of course, the big splash. But he failed to make an impact because he came across as elitist. Here is actor Vijay, who is appearing to be very mass-oriented. That cult that he has in cinema is actually getting translated with the manner in which he interacted with the crowd.
It's the first day. Naturally, people came to see him. You know, a massive crowd came. And it's the first day. It's a long journey of 24 months. It's a very long journey of 24 months. And Kalyaniji may be right. He may be a big disruptor, but he is not a unifier of the opposition. So that doesn't harm the DMK in any way. He is going to consolidate with the ADMK. and the BJP will have its own front. I have heard a lot of criticism of him from some BJP spokespersons today in other channels, which was, I felt, they should have waited and watched. So therefore, whatever impact he has as an actor in Tamil Nadu, it may have a big impact, but will it pass that critical mass test unless he gets 35%, 40% of the vote? It makes no difference. You have to cross that critical mass line, the plimsoll line of election. I don't think he has that with him. Of course, he's got 24 months to go. Of course, other parties may combine. That's for the future. But he will be disruptive and divisive of the opposition also. They will have to accept him. The BJP will have to accept him if they want to unite with him. ADMK may accept him. So we have to see. And the other aspect is, for the first time in 40 years, I think, there is only one actor in Tamil Nadu politics. There is no Captain Vijaykanth, Jayalalitha, or MGR, Shivaji Ganesan, or in fact, Captain Vijaykanth and Rajinikanth, of course, never got into the plunge. So we have to see how it comes out. As of now, he will divide the opposition. He may take away somebody's votes, and that critical mass, 40%.
Fine enough. R. Rangaraj, do you think he can make that kind of impact in the next 24 months?
He has made a promising start. Some bad news for the BJP, which was earlier hoping that Rajinikanth may come on board, but since Rajinikanth backed out, they were hoping that another star, Vijay, a politician in the making, that he may think of an alliance with the BJP, but he has come out against what is called fascism and divisive forces. So it's virtually closed the door for the BJP. The ADMK is also not happy because Vijay is projecting himself as a chief ministerial candidate. He said he's open to an alliance, but he is willing to give cabinet posts to others, which means he's a giver. That means he should be the chief minister and others should take some cabinet posts from him. So that means ADMK will not like to play second fiddle to Vijay. Similarly, there are some other parties like Seeman, NTK, who will not accept Vijay as their leader. So that is an issue. So what Vijay can do is look at some parties in the NDA and some parties in the ADMK front, smaller parties, and try to wean them away and get them into his alliance, and then hope to expand on his massive show of youth force that he has done, and try to take it across various sections of the state, including other middle-aged groups and senior citizens and so on. He has to reach out to them. If he is able to do that and bring more politicians, second-run politicians from several other parties, may think of coming to his new party. As you know, any new party has posts and seats vacant. So there are some people who would like to be holding party positions and look for party tickets and so on. So we may start some gravitational politics towards his party the next few months. But the important question is he doesn't have any senior politicians to guide him. At least they have not appeared so far on screen. Nor does he have a big think tank to help him. So he needs to work on those two things and to be a full-time politician. So it's all right to be an actor. So, but Kamal Hassan was not a full-time politician. That was his drawback. So what Vijay needs to do is visit every nook and corner. A big advantage for him is he's a well-known face, being a popular actor. So massive turnout of youth has to be expanded. That's not enough. Maybe he could target the Vijaykanth percentage of 8 to 10%, which he was doing from 2006 to 2011.
So if he is appearing to be an actor with a plan, can that be said about him, Pullarao?
Yes. He has positioned himself now as, one minute. He has positioned himself now as the main challenger to the DMK. So we could see a shift. The next election, 2026, it could be Udayanithi versus Vijay. That's the way he wants to position him, the entire 2026 election. In which case, the ADMK will get sidelined.
So it will be like a generational shift in Tamil Nadu politics, where it will be about Udayanithi versus him.
Gen next. It will be Gen next.
But then what happens to AIADMK and Annamalai?
ADMK will get pushed slowly to the background because they don't have a big film star. They don't have a charisma of Jayalalitha anymore.
No, that's fine. What about Mr. Annamalai?
Annamalai, again, the BJP will need a strong alliance. They have got about 18-19% in the parliament election, good enough. But that will not be enough to cross the 35%.
So, Mr. Pullarao, your thought on that? So if it's 40% is that critical mass, if he is still, of course,
Vijay will win. No, I'm not saying Vijay will win or sweep the next election.
No,
But
you're
he
not
will
saying
have
that. Neither am I saying that. Yes, Pulla Rao, please go ahead.
Yes. You see, that's a very, 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 very big hurdle to cross. 40%, 35%.
Yeah.
And as I said, he will disrupt opposition. And the DMK has so far done 36 national and state elections. They got a machinery, they got everything, as also the ADMK. No doubt about it. He has to start from scratch. Say, I don't deride him. He's got a huge crowd. It was a massive building. It was a great meeting. But what now? What is the journey? Unless he's for the long term, maybe after another 10 years. He has to grow. There's going to be no explosive coming on like NTR captured power or Kejriwal captured power in the first election. It is a slow growth situation, and because there are too many players there. And as of today, this is advantage DMK. He is not able to bring the opposition together. If he is attacking the DMK, he should have told all the opposition, come, we'll think about the leadership later.
I'm not too sure if his plan is to unite the opposition. He is very clear about his mission, and that's what it appeared when he gave that speech yesterday. So, Kasturi, I'm coming to you. The question is 24 months enough, first? And the point being made here is that can he be that challenger to DMK? Because there is a huge vacuum which is visible. Particularly AIA-DMK has not been able to fill in that shoes that has been left after Jayalalitha. On the BJP side, you have Mr. Annamalai, but he may not have this kind of cult-like following.
Okay. First off, I think Mr. Vijay has, you asked me if 24 months is enough. No, usually that's not enough unless something very game-changing happens in the next 24 months. We can look at him as a disruptor, but not as the eventual winner unless something really phenomenal happens in between now and the elections. Generally, in this kind of a scenario, conventional wisdom holds that the ruling party will have the advantage moving forward into the next election. That said, in Tamil Nadu, the DMK in the last 3.5 years has performed so miserably that there is palpable anti-incumbency in the state, and people are actually, the loudest cheers when Vijay talked were when he said he is going to take the DMK head on. The people are really looking for a plausible winning candidate to an alternative, a winning alternative, which they did not get from the ADMK, which BJP will not be because they are an ideologically different party. They are not part of the Dravidian system that holds forth in Tamil Nadu. So it's going to take them a long time. Without any alliances, it's impossible, which we have seen in the parliamentary elections as well. If BJP and ADMK get back together, maybe then we can talk about that. But right now, what Vijay has done is position himself not as the opposition to DMK. He has positioned himself because he has gotten the inclusive ideology and the Dravidian ideology as part of his umbrella policy. He has positioned himself as a replacement to the DMK, as a better corruption-free, dynasty-free, baggage-free replacement. And I say this because it's a face-to-face against Udayanidhi. We cannot compare EPS to Udayanidhi just because they don't look the same, they're not the same generation, they don't appeal to the same voter demographic. We cannot compare Annamalai and Udayanidhi because Mr. Annamalai is ideologically different. He will not be seen as the ultimate decision maker. He will always be seen as a representative of somebody in the center, as somebody that listens to Delhi. But Vijay is seen as somebody who makes his own rules.
Okay,
so really,
so I have just enough time for Mr. Kalyan Raman. Kasturi, point well taken. Kalyan Raman.
I think the so-called Dravidian ideology is a non-existing one. So let's not talk about ideology in Tamil Nadu. It is the well-oiled mechanism that DMK and ADMK have built over a period of 50 and odd years. That is working. It is not the charisma of any individual in these two parties. That's a matter of fact. So coming to the question of Vijay, he has to build a huge network, which he may not be able to do because that network that was earlier built by DMK, MDMK, so I'm sorry, DMDK, that was Vijayakant's party itself failed. So when that be the case, how Vijay will be able to build a mechanism, well-oiled machinery is a question mark to be answered.
Some are being abandoned and will be left to die alone. But Donkey Sanctuary, because terrible things are happening to donkeys. Please, do something incredible for them right now.
Some people think life slows down in your 50s, but I'm just getting started. And I don't want my lot to have to worry about funeral costs. Let them spend their money on nicer things. So I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today. They're the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period. Unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years, with Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one. And you're covered for the whole of your life. Unlike other things in life, the price never goes up. Go online or talk to their friendly UK team in just one phone call. Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period.
And no annoying trips to the doctors either. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Now I'm with Cover Today, I can get on with something much more interesting.
To find out more about Cover Today, call our friendly UK team on 0800 470 4474 or visit covertoday.co.uk.
This is an important message for people living with diabetes, from people living with diabetes.
When I was experiencing the symptoms of diabetes, I didn't know what was going on.
You go on the internet and it's full of horror stories. You don't know where to begin and you don't know what to believe.
I didn't understand about carbs, I didn't understand about blood glucose levels.
I was scared and I was worried.
I didn't understand diabetes full stop.
That's why the support I get as a Diabetes UK member is so important.
You can become a Diabetes UK member too. To join us now, just call 0800 144 5406 and become a member today for just £3 a month. When you do, you'll receive a practical guide specific to your type of diabetes and a copy of Balance magazine 4 times a year. Balance is filled with news and inspiring real-life stories from members just like you. And you'll receive regular emails and vital updates that will help you feel informed and supported. Plus, you'll help support research that could lead to better treatments for all types of diabetes.
Membership makes life better because you're not alone anymore.
Call 0800 144 5406 or go online to become a Diabetes UK member for just £3 a month, because membership can help you learn to live better with diabetes.
Bingo lovers, it's time for a close encounter with Bingo Aliens. Visit bingoaliens.com/bingo for a cosmic range of bingo games. 75-ball bingo, even 90-ball bingo. All from a galaxy far away, direct to you. Taking bingo to another dimension at bingoaliens.com/bingo.
It was a day of mega nominations in Maharashtra, even as political parties scrambled to finalize their candidates. Both Mahayuti and Mahavikas Aghadi have yet to finalize over a dozen candidates, as the deadline for the nomination ends tomorrow. Many seats in and around the crucial Mumbai sector are yet to be decided. Major showdowns have emerged in some seats as the next generation of political leaders will cut their teeth in this election.
Eknath Shinde, Ajit Pawar, and some of the biggest names in Maharashtra politics filed their nominations today. The battle for Maharashtra, the biggest political battle this year, where some of the keenest contests are as personal as they can get. It's Pawar versus Pawar face-off once again in Baramati. While Sharad faction won the Lok Sabha round, this time for the assembly elections, Ajit Pawar has fielded himself from Baramati. His nephew Yogendra Pawar is contesting against him. This is Ajit Pawar's 7th election from Baramati.
बारामतीकर बहुत अच्छे वोटों से
मुझे जिताएंगे ऐसा मुझे भरोसा है। मैंने सुप्रिया के खिलाफ मेरे पत्नी को खड़ा किया, वो मेरी भूल थी। ये भूल वापिस इन्होंने नहीं करनी चाहिए थी, लेकिन की है। आखिर वोटर उसके बारे में डिसीजन लेंगे।
Look at the GST issues. Look, ask any farmer if when you are traveling here that what is this? It is, for me, it's never personal. Even in the Lok Sabha, I never made it personal because for me it's an ideological fight. It's not the person. I'm fighting against the policies of Government of India. I'm fighting against the policies of Government of Maharashtra.
Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde will lock horns against Kedar Dige, the nephew of his political guru. Bandra East has been one of the contentious seats between the MVA allies. The Mahayuti, however, managed to get an upper hand as the sitting MLA Zishan Siddiqui switched to Ajit Pawar's NCP just days ahead of elections.
Never in our wildest dreams had we imagined that we would be advancing towards my nomination rally, and my father, who's been my pillar of strength always in my life, wouldn't be there with me today. But I have my Bandra East family, I have my family, my sisters there with me. My mother gave me her blessings.
The last date of filing nominations is on Tuesday, but no decision has been taken yet on several seats.
कल मैं नामांकन दाखिल करूंगा शिवाजी नगर विधानसभा क्षेत्र से, मानपुर से, और कल नामांकन दाखिल करने के बाद दोनों जगह चुनाव प्रचार की शुरुआत हम करेंगे और दोनों सीटों पे हम जीतेंगे।
We are less than a month away from the high voltage Maharashtra election, and all the leaders seem to be in readiness for this battle. From Worli's Sena versus Sena to Baramati's Pawar versus Pawar, everyone seems to have pulled up their socks, not just while campaigning, but also while filling their nomination forms here in Maharashtra. With camera person Sachin, this is Anuj Raide reporting for NDTV from Mumbai.
With the deadline for the nominations of the Maharashtra Assembly elections, of course, all set to over tomorrow, there is a rush for the parties and their big faces to go ahead and file their nomination. Chief Minister Eknath Shinde today also filed his nomination. It's a big battle on his face, his legacy, in fact, and whether he can bring back, because the election is being fought under his leadership, the Mahayuti back. He spoke to NDTV. Listen to this exclusive conversation.
कोपरी पांच पाखड़ी से नामांकन दर्ज किया जा चुका है और मुख्यमंत्री एकनाथ शिंदे लगातार 6 घंटों से लोगों के बीच जा रहे हैं और साथ ही महायुति ने अब तक क्या काम किया है लोगों को पता है, लेकिन उसके बावजूद बता रहे हैं। हमारे साथ बात करने के लिए मुख्यमंत्री एकनाथ शिंदे खुद मौजूद है। सर, हम देख रहे हैं 6 घंटे से आप लोगों के बीच जा रहे हैं, अब तक का जो आपको रिस्पॉन्स मिल रहा है वो देखकर क्या लग रहा है इस बार?
देखिए, आप ही देखो, ये जो लोगों का रिस्पॉन्स, हमारे मतदाताओं का रिस्पॉन्स, ये मेरी कर्मभूमि है और यही से मैं बड़ा हो गया, नगर सेवक हुआ, आमदार हो गया और मुख्यमंत्री बन गया। इसलिए मेरा चुनाव जो है मेरी लाडली बहना, मेरे लाडले भाई और हमारे लाडले मतदाताओं ने हाथ में ले लिया है। इसकी मुझे खुशी है। वो कहते हैं आप महाराष्ट्र में घूमो, हम यहाँ देखते हैं। ये मेरे लिए बहुत बड़ी सौभाग्य की बात है कि ऐसे मतदाता मुझे मिले हैं और जो मैंने काम किया है उसका जो कुछ इनाम निश्चित रूप से ये मेरे मतदाता देंगे, क्योंकि 2.5 साल में जो काम नहीं हुआ, जो काम को ब्रेक लगा दिया, जिसको नकार दिया, जिसमें स्टे दे दिया, वो उस कामों को हम अंजाम दिया, आगे बढ़ाया और सभी स्टे को निकाल दिया, सब ब्रेक हटाया, सब ब्रेकर को निकाल दिया और दूसरी तरफ कल्याणकारी योजना, एक तरफ विकास, दूसरी तरफ कल्याणकारी योजना, ये दोनों को हमने साठ गांठ कर दी। और आज लाडली बहन योजना भी हमने कर दी। लाडली बहन योजना, लाडला भाई योजना, लेक लाड़की लखपति, सभी योजना से हम लोगों को राहत दे रहे। विपक्ष ने भी अपने 2.5 साल का कारोबार का लेखा जोखा दे, हम हमारे 2.25 साल का देते, और नहीं तो दूध का दूध, पानी का पानी, और लोगों को निर्णय लेने दो। ये हमारा चैलेंज है, खुला चैलेंज है और इसलिए इस चुनाव में इतना काम किया है उसका इनाम निश्चित रूप से हमारे मतदाता देंगे। और घर में बैठने वाले, सिर्फ फेसबुक लाइव करने वाले को का हमेशा के लिए वो घर में बिठाएंगे। हम फील्ड वर्कर हैं, हम 24/7 काम करने वाले। मैं सीएम मीन्स चीफ मिनिस्टर नहीं समझता, मैं सीएम इन कॉमन मैन समझता हूँ, खुद को कॉमन मैन समझता हूँ। इसलिए
मेरे कॉमन मैन में जाने में मुझे कोई दिक्कत नहीं होती। आज मैं भी इनके साथ पैदल चला। ये मेरे लोग हैं, ये सब परिवार है, और इसलिए मुझे विश्वास है कि इस चुनाव में सभी रिकॉर्ड अब तक के टूटेंगे, सभी रिकॉर्ड अब तक के टूटेंगे, और महायुति की सरकार जो है इस राज्य में थम्पिंग मेजॉरिटी से पूर्ण बहुमत से आएगी।
आपकी लाड़की बहन मैं देख रही हूँ यहाँ पर सभी जो आपकी लाड़की बहनें हैं वो थाली लेकर आपकी आरती उतारने के लिए खड़ी हैं, आपको पैसे दे रही हैं, लेकिन विपक्ष बता रही है कि ये महज चुनाव के वास्ते किया गया है, चुनाव हो जाएगा तो इसे बंद कर दिया जाएगा। उनके लिए क्या जवाब रहेगा?
ये झूठे लोग हैं, ये जो विपक्ष के लोग, जैसे कर्नाटक में, जैसे हिमाचल में योजना शुरू कर दी, बोले खट खटाखट देंगे, और योजना बंद कर दी, बोले केंद्र सरकार से पैसे लेंगे, लेकिन हमने उल्टा कर दिया, पटापट उनके खाते में पैसे दिए। हमारे लाडली बहनों को 5 हफ्ते दिए, 5 इंस्टॉलमेंट दिए। हमें पता था कि वो लोग आचार संहिता में अड़ंगा डालेंगे, कंप्लेंट करेंगे, इसलिए हम अक्टूबर के पैसे भी, नवंबर के पैसे भी अक्टूबर में दे दिए। ये हमारी नीयत साफ है, ये नीयत खोट नहीं है। उनका हमारा नेशन फर्स्ट है, उनका करप्शन फर्स्ट है, उनका कट कमीशन और करप्शन, यही धंधा है, यही एजेंडा है। खुद राजीव गांधी ने कहा था केंद्र से 1 रुपया आता है तो 15 पैसे जाते हैं लोगों के घर में, 85 पैसे कितने जाते? अभी तो जो मोदी जी भेजते हैं पूरा बंदा 1 रुपया खाते में जाता है डीबीटी द्वारा। ये हमारा काम है, डबल इंजन का काम। इसलिए हमें कोई परवाह नहीं है, हम जनता की अदालत में जा रहे हैं, हमारा काम का लेखा जोखा उनको देंगे, दूध का दूध पानी का पानी होगा, और पूरी मेजॉरिटी जनता मिलेगी।
सर, आप महायुति के अभी भी मुख्यमंत्री के चेहरे हैं, लेकिन महाविकास अघाड़ी में अभी मुख्यमंत्री का चेहरा जो है वो तय हो नहीं पाया है, क्या बोलेंगे?
हमारे में देखो, मुझे करो ये कहने की नौबत नहीं। हमारे यहाँ जैसे बाला साहब ठाकरे जी थे, तब दिल्ली से सभी बड़े बड़े नेता आते थे। आज उनके वारस कहने वाले दिल्ली के गली गली में घूम रहे, मुझे करो। अगर आघाड़ी को, महाविकास आघाड़ी को ही उनका चेहरा पसंद नहीं, तो महाराष्ट्र को कैसे पसंद होगा? ये मेरा सवाल है।
सर, लोकसभा चुनाव के नतीजों के बाद अब जो है महाविकास अघाड़ी का कहना है
वहाँ फेस के लिए रेस लगे हैं, हमारे पास काम के लिए, डेवलपमेंट के लिए हम उतरे रास्ते।
इस बार सर क्या मार्जिन है?
मार्जिन कौन सा? मेरा
जीत का?
मेरा तो सब रिकॉर्ड टूटेगा। ये लोग मैंने अभी चुनाव हाथ में लिया है। धन्यवाद, थैंक यू।
तो हमने मुख्यमंत्री एकनाथ शिंदे से खास बातचीत की, जिन्होंने बताया कि इस बार रिकॉर्ड टूटेगा, और साथ ही देखने होगा कि इस बार महायुति और महाविकास अघाड़ी दोनों ही गुट और दोनों ही जो बड़े गठबंधन हैं वो अपनी जीत को लेकर काफ़ी ज़्यादा जो है निश्चिंत नज़र आ रहे हैं। लेकिन देखना ये होगा कि महाराष्ट्र की जनता किस पर भरोसा दिखाती है, और इस बार इस विधानसभा चुनाव के बाद महाराष्ट्र के इस बड़े राज्य में किसकी सरकार बनती हुई नजर आती है। थाने से कैमरा पर्सन हेमंत मोहिते के साथ सुजाता द्विवेदी, NDTV इंडिया के लिए। Got MP as well as his son Shrikant Shinde with us. So we see that a huge crowd is here to address, and the CM since the last 6 hours is continuously speaking to people. How is it going to be this time? Is it going to be a 4th win from the same constituency for the Chief Minister?
So this crowd is after 6 hours. Last 6 hours we're doing this rally, and Honorable Chief Minister is himself here. I think this is the love, affection, what people have, faith people have in him. Last many years he has worked tirelessly for Maharashtra, for this constituency, and you can see the result here. Yeah, after 6 years, 6 hours also, people are not willing to go to their homes. Still waiting here to hear the Honorable Chief Minister. And I think I also thought that this rally would be 1 hour, 2 hours, but it was 6 hours. He was also present here since our last 6 hours. So I think this is, you can predict what will happen on 23rd.
We also see that a huge crowd of females have come here along with Aarti ki thali for the Chief Minister, as they rightly call him and regard him as their Ladka Bhau. So do you think that the Ladki Bahin Yojana is going to play an important factor in the upcoming Vidhan Sabha elections?
Obviously, Ladki Bahin Yojana, Mukhyamantri Maji Ladki Bahin Yojana is a game changer scheme which we have implemented, and it has percolated to the grassroots level. Nearly 2.3 crore women have been benefited by this Ladki Bahin Yojana. I think any government comes, they introduce lot of schemes. but they stay only on paper, they remain on paper. But this time, these 2 years, so many schemes we have implemented, and out of that one scheme, Mukhyamantri Maji Ladki Bahin Yojana has percolated to the grassroots level. People have received amounts. Females got 7.5 thousand till now. And I think it is a huge amount which makes them self-sustainable, not dependent on anyone. If they wish to do any business, small business, they can start at home. And I think this is a game changer yojana which has created a lot of impact in Maharashtra, and wherever you see, our Ladki Bahin is there, Ladli Behna is there. क्योंकि उनको पहली बार किसी ने तो रिकॉग्नाइज किया. So this female voters have been recognized for the first time, and not only for the voter being, we have made them. They should not be dependent on their family members if they wish to do anything. Right? You being a female, every time it is not nice to ask for money, and if they want to start any business, small business, big business. So this government initiative and this 1500 rupees per month will not stay 1500 rupees. In coming time, it will multiply. So I think your question, the impact of Ladki Bahin, you can see it.
The Borivali constituency in Mumbai is also a keenly contested seat where Gopal Shetty is upset with the decision to field an outside candidate, and now the problem is that he could stand as an independent candidate. In fact, he said that he will not join any other party. I will not leave the party's ideology, but I will respect, in fact, and fight for the people of Borivali. He's from the Bharatiya Janata Party. Listen in.
मैं बात करने के लिए खुद यहाँ पर गोपाल शेट्टी जी के पास आया हूँ. गोपाल शेट्टी जी, आप इतने कर्तव्यनिष्ठ, निष्ठावान, इतने पुराने कार्यकर्ता है. मैं आप नगर सेवक थे तब से मैं आपको जानता हूँ. कभी पार्टी के खिलाफ इस तरह की बात आपने नहीं की, लेकिन अब इतनी नाराजगी हो गई है कि आप कह रहे हैं कि आप बीजेपी के उम्मीदवार के खिलाफ चुनाव लड़ेंगे.
देखिए, ये निर्णय बहुत सोच समझ कर लिया गया हुआ निर्णय है. मैंने बार बार बताया था कि जब 2024 में भी लोकसभा के समय पर देश के प्रधानमंत्री ने इच्छा जताई कि भाई पीयूष गोयल जी को सेफ सीट से चुनाव लड़ाना चाहिए और यहाँ से उनका नाम घोषित हुआ, तो मैं पूरे ताकत से उनके साथ में खड़ा रहा और बहुत शानदार ढंग से हमने चुनाव जीता. चुनाव जीतने के दूसरे दिन से लेकर आज तक मैंने एक भी छुट्टी नहीं की. मैं काम कर रहा हूँ. आज सवेरे मैं योगेश सागर जी, मनीष सताई चौधरी जी, विनोद सेलार, प्रकाश सुर्वे जी, इन चारों का फॉर्म भरकर पीयूष गोयल जी के साथ में हम 3 बजे जिला के मीटिंग में गए. ये घोषित होने के बाद में भी मैंने जिला में पार्टी का मीटिंग पूरा अटेंड किया.
The new £5 meal deal from McDonald's. Cheeseburger or mayo chicken, fries, 4 chicken McNuggets and a drink. For guess what? That's right, £5.
For Monu, every step is agony. But he's forced to carry heavy loads and bricks up narrow, steep flights of stairs, hour after hour, day after day. Life can be cruel and short for hard-working donkeys like Monu. With little food, water or rest, they must keep going no matter what. Crude harnesses cut into their flesh. Horrific wounds and injuries go untreated. And when they've given all they can, many will simply be abandoned. You could help us treat more sick and injured donkeys. We won't stop until each one has a good life. But we can't do it without you. So please call 0800 035 9305 or text STEP6 to 78866 and give £2 a month. Your help will be the first step towards a better life for brave donkeys like Monu.
With Post Office Over 50s live cover, enjoy peace of mind knowing your family will receive a